Hi everyone, welcome to this video on lesson 8 of the Earth and Climate Scheme of Work. This one is on the rock cycle, and there's not really anything new in this lesson. All this lesson serves to do is to bring together all of the ideas that students have learned about in the previous sequence of the previous 4 lessons. So the first of those was on igneous rocks, then on weathering and transportation, then the lesson on sedimentary rocks, and finally the lesson on metamorphic rocks. And what we want students to be able to do is to just write fluently about that whole sequence. So turn that into a paragraph, because that is really going to build their conceptual thinking, not just retrieving individual facts, but actually being able to fluently talk about how those ideas all relate to one another. And we hope that's going to give them this really clear mental model, this kind of conceptual scheme that's going to help them then remember more of this stuff that we've taught them. So what you can do in this lesson is just very quickly go over the rock cycle again as a whole and talk through the different stages. You might want to do some whiteboard questions just to check students understand key points. That would be absolutely fine, but don't take too long on that. You can then get them to write, and once they've had a chance to write, you can either get some examples of students writing under the visualizer and kind of go through them live and give that feedback live. I've also included some examples of student work from a previous school where I taught this sequence of lessons. So you could go through those. You might want to print them and get students to reflect on how well they've written about the rock cycle, in order that they can then go back to what they wrote first time and look at that and say, okay, how do I now improve this? And it's really important when you're doing writing. This is something that came out of that book, The Writing Revolution, that actually, if you're going to give feedback to students on a piece of writing, it's really important that you then give them an opportunity to redraft it. So my advice would be, once you have kind of gone through the rock cycle and drawn out a plan for how they're going to structure their paragraph and what order they're going to write their sentences in, give them a chance to write, give them some feedback and have some discussion, and then make sure you give them another chance to write, because that's what's really going to help them think and therefore write fluently about this whole topic. So that's about it, and this will be a nice lesson where students will produce some really fantastic work, I'm sure, that they'll be proud of, and that brings our sequence of lessons on what's going on inside the Earth pretty much to a close. What we're going to look at from the next lesson in this scheme is what's happening, how the kind of what's happening at the surface of the Earth relates to what's happening up in the Earth's atmosphere. And the big idea that's going to draw those lessons together is the idea of the carbon cycle. So that's what we'll come to in the next lesson.